When I think about sustainability, I try to think about systems that are regenerative in certain ways, that replenish at the same time as they use resources, where it's not a continual extraction process, where you have a system, if you're talking about farming and sustainable farming, where you have people who are working who can make a living from what they're doing, ideally, where you're taking care of soil, you're taking care of water, you're taking care of plants, animals, where you don't necessarily have to add lots and lots of fertilizers and inputs, where you have some sort of natural cycling that replenishes even as it uses.
Sustainable food production for us means continually improving the pastures that we're grazing our cattle and sheep on. That means moving them frequently, no tillage whatsoever, giving the pastures what they need to thrive. That involves moving the cattle around a lot, running multiple species on the same ground, to include the poultry, not feeding them full of corn, not bringing in a lot of things from off the farm to make their lives better, because we don't need to. We just take advantage of the apple trees and the nut trees that are around and all the grasses that we've worked so hard in building up, and that's sustainable food production at Walnut Farm anyhow.
You can't have an ecosystem without animals. It just doesn't work. Each animal eats the grass, or they eat from what grows and then put back what they don't need. And you have to have that cycle in place, the nutrient cycle in place, in order for anything to continue to grow. So closely managed, closely controlled, pasture-based systems are incredibly beneficial to agricultural systems, because, like I said, you can't have a complete sustainable system without animals involved in it.
Pastured poultry, the essence of it is it works with the seasons, right? You don't raise meat chickens in Pennsylvania in December in a pastured way. You raise it, May through October maybe. So that automatically helps you, and the birds put down the manure right where you need it in a concentrated setting. Yes, maybe so, maybe 100 square feet at a time, but it's once and done, and then you move on, and then the sunshine comes out and the rain happens, and it has a chance to break that nitrogen, the manure down, and it turns into green grass, and it's lush and green and vibrant, and it gets better over time.
To look at the problem of greenhouse gases and global warming and realize that it can be solved in rotational grazing of sustainable farms by placing carbon from the atmosphere back into the soil. The reality is just that component alone makes pasture-based rotational grazing concepts of sustainable farming worth every penny.
To do a grass-fed operation takes pasture. The average is probably an acre of pasture per animal per year per mature animal. So it takes a lot more room to do it. But using cattle to naturally fertilize, if you think about equipment, tractors, hay balers, grain planters, corn planters, and all the hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of equipment that are necessary to crop farm. Cattle do all that. They eat the grass if it's managed properly. They process it, they create fertilizer and leave that behind, and I move them every day to make sure that process repeats itself daily and the pasture rejuvenates itself over time. I like to think of the pasture as one big solar panel, because the sunlight is actually doing the work. I'm just harnessing the power of the sun to make it happen through the cattle to create a healthy food product for the end user, for the consumer.
A lot of people think that there's not much that you can do about the big picture problems that we have with our environment today, but every time that you buy from somebody who's practicing eco-responsible farming, then you're voting with your fork, or that consumer dollar, for a better system and a better environment. So that's what we really kind of hope to make a small change that ripples out. And, you know, there's a lot of us trying to make those small changes that enough ripples and all of a sudden you got a wave.